Hello, hello, hello. Happy New Year. Happy 2021. Yay, we made it. It's your girl, Dr. Joy Chestnut. And yes, it's official now. I am Dr. Joy Chestnut officially. I defended my doctorate program on December 16th and I got conferred on the 18th of December. I'm telling you guys, I'm coming on to tell you the grace of God is sufficient because I did not think I would make it. And that last quarter, I had went to my husband. I said, I'm preparing that I'm not going to be done. The deliverables were just more than I could handle. My job was shifting and doing all kind of things. I didn't think they would keep me on because of my role. I'm a nurse, but I'm a nurse educator, so you couldn't educate in person, and it was going to be very difficult to keep an educator on, and them just not seeing the value of needing education, and me just feeling all sorts of rejection from it. Like I sent my project in 10 times and they rejected it. They sent it back 10 times before they actually accepted it. And I just got to the point where I was so despondent from it. I felt so much rejection from it. I felt so much anxiety. I doubted myself so much. I questioned and asked myself, why did you do this? And I want to talk about that because, I had to remember my why. When I was a very young girl, I was 19 years old. I got married when I was 18, and my mother was less than pleased with that. She didn't want me to get married so young, but of course, at 18, you think you're grown until you're 48 and you realize you were a baby. So, she said, you have so much promise on your life, and I wanted you to go and get all the education. She had shared with me that that was her biggest regret, is that she didn't get all the education she could get. She didn't complete her education. And she urged me to go as far as you can go. So every time I would go through those crying spells and just those periods of just feeling depressed and despondent, because I didn't think it was so hard. I didn't think I could do it. And, I would think of her, I would see her saying, go as far as you can go. Because I didn't do it for more money. I didn't do it for accolades from people. I did it for me and for the goals that I set for myself so long ago that I would get all the education I could get. And my husband, he was the real MVP, and my kids, because I'll tell you, anytime I went through any kind of stress over it, and he had to listen to so many woes and so many tears, but he was always there. He never complained that sometimes it had my full attention. And, I just, sometimes we'd be planning to go places and leave, and I'd have to on a whim say, they sent it back. I need to do more corrections. He was just never, ever, ever a burden to me concerning that. And he believed in me in times when I did not believe in myself. When I told him I'm not going to finish, he said, yes, you are. You did already. But I'll tell you what really helped me. I called my cousin and I was telling her some of the woes that I was experiencing with the program, and how, that I just had other friends who had graduated and they didn't seem to have to turn their project in so many times. I was going through the feelings of not feeling like my job knew my value, because now we're in a virtual environment and they can't see how I'd be able to still do this job. I couldn't even see how I'd be able to still do it. And it was just such an overwhelming feeling. And I told my cousin one day, I called her early in the morning, someone who knows the walk of doing a doctorate program, because she has a PhD from Howard University. Not an easy feat, but I knew that I could call her and turn to her and lean on her. And so I said, I can't do this. I don't know why I went for this, and now COVID happened and everything, and I just can't do what I was supposed to get out by December 18th, and I'm not going to make it. I already lost my other graduation date. And she said, I want you to get those dates out of your head. She said, because you'll be finished when you're done. And don't put those expectations on yourself. God is in control of this. He decides the timing, not you. He decides the timing, and you'll be finished when you're done. No sooner and no later. And what she said to me was this. She said, just remember this. You'll have this for the rest of your life. And it's a bitter walk, but it's a sweet victory. And oh my, she helped me so much. It was a bitter walk, and it was a sweet victory, and it is a sweet victory. And again, for the rest of my life, I will have this. So I want to say the bitter walk of rejection for a change, instead of me jumping up and trying to get a new job because I'm afraid that I won't be able to do this job online, and putting myself at risk, and, not waiting and being patient to let God move and see what he had for me not getting all overexcited when I noticed things in relationships change with friends, that I could see things change. I could feel the difference. Business alliances for people that I felt that I've supported them in many ways for years, and they're still looking for more support from me, but as of yet have never said, so what are you doing over there at Crossing the Jordan? What do you want to do? How can we help you without it benefiting them somehow? But yet still looking for me to give them more support. The feeling of that rejection, of that lack of value that people have for who you are and what you want to do. You know what I did? Instead, this time I didn't cry over it. I didn't run. I looked it in the face and I faced it. And it was a bitter walk. Again, it was a bitter walk to sit in the pain of feeling unvalued, to feeling rejected, to feeling despondent, to feeling like people that you think know you, you realize they really don't know you. They don't know what you stand for. They don't know what you like to do. They don't know what you love. They don't see a value. They're not even trying to see what it is that you bring to their lives. They just want to know what you bring to what they bring to your life. They just want to know what you bring to their lives. They're not adding anything to you. They just want you to add to them. To think that all these years of education, because I had a master's degree before going for the doctorate degree, but yet my job was saying, oh, we don't know. We don't think it's worth to keep. And just that feeling of I want to help somebody today. Because in the past, when I thought I'm going to experience rejection, guess what? I ran for the hills. Okay, I ain't got to talk to them no more. Okay, I ain't got to talk to him no more. Deuces. That was my motto. Because why? You don't want to sit in that pain. You don't want to feel it. But I can tell you today that you have to have a healthy respect for pain that you go through so it can come and go. Because the longer you run from it, the more it'll chase you. It'll come back again and again and again. If you don't finally look it in the eyes one day. And I looked it in the eyes and I said, well, God, whatever they're going to do, I know they have a plan for it. But what I'm not going to do is have you cleaning up mess behind me because I acted prematurely. I acted out of my emotions. I acted out of my hurt. I acted out of my pain. I acted out of the rejection. And so now you got to come behind me and clean up because you know what I'm going to do before I do it. But this time, Lord, I'm going to grow. Yup, like a rose from concrete. I'm going to grow. And I'm going to look that rejection square in the eye and say, what do you got? Do you have anything more? And guess what? The rejection didn't destroy me. It didn't break me down. I still survived it. I'm here to tell you about it today. So I just want to submit to you today that I tell you, if you sit still, trust God. I fasted and I prayed. I talked to people that I knew I could lean on. I went to those that I know really do care about me, that care about what I want, care about who I am, care about how I feel. Those people who you know are in your corner, not just in your circle. Again, I'll say it. Those people who are in your corner, not just in your circle, who really know who you are, who because you might hang out and party or do what else, because you do one thing don't mean you can't be another. I can walk and chew gum. Because I like to have a good time and I go to concerts and stuff, I can still love God and talk about God anytime I want. Because if you knew me, you knew that's what I was really about all along. I've never done anything more that would make anybody think I don't love God. Those of you who have heard of Crossing the Jordan or heard of anything business ventures, I have those who call me and say, so how's that going? What can I do to help? But I have others who want me to consistently, girl, now I'm doing this. Call us because we're selling it. But I ain't never took the time once. But God removed all of that from me. Even in my workplace, he put somebody in position who said, hey, we need this. We need what she has. And let's figure out how to do it. Kind of lift me up off my bootstraps. So I just came to tell y'all that when pain of rejection comes, when the pains of disappointment come, don't run from it. Sit still. Be patient. Wait on the Lord. Let him act on your behalf. When it says God will show up and show out, he did. Do you know when I defended my doctorate degree, my instructor had told me, she said, they will have a lot of questions afterwards. The committee members, there's a committee that you have to sit before that they will ask questions. There's 4 or 5, depending on how big your committee is. And they will sit before you once you present the project, which I presented a PowerPoint presentation with a little video. And, she said afterwards, just be prepared for those questions. Just know your stuff. And so I, looked at this thing over and over again, pulled it apart, put it back together just so I could know it, so I could be prepared for those questions. So after you finish your presentation, it's time for them to ask questions for you to defend it. They did not ask one question. You hear me? That's God. That ain't me being so bright. That's God. That's God showing, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do for you. Not only did I stay in my position of employment, but God sent a manager who was able to see the value that education brought to my organization and said, you know what, we need you. And this is what we're going to do. Not only did they open up the door for education to go forward, but they opened up the door for me to reinvent myself and learn some new things. Not only that, some other people who are in business, who understand some of the things that I want to do going forward in business, came and said, hey, we see what you're trying to do here. How can we help you? I said, wow, look at God. So I just want to tell you, when you can't keep up with what the pace is that you think you should be at, just sit still, because God has a pace that's just for you all along. His plan is for you all along. It might not line up when people want it to line up. Because you know what? I was doing a couple of other things while I was pursuing the degree. And when it got to the end, I want to say that last 5 to 6 months, it got harder and harder. The last 3 months was just incredibly hard. But you know what I did? I said, let me look at what I'm doing and see what's important. Because I can't do all of this. I'm going to fail at something. And I had some other things, some other irons that were really in the fire. And I had told myself, now that I'm finished with this degree, when I'm finishing up, I'm going to do this and do that. But guess what? I had to put all of that down. I had to put it all down because I wasn't going to get to where I needed to get with that degree if I kept everything in my hands. So I had to let something go. So when people say don't put all your eggs in one basket, there's only one exception to that. And that is, you can put all your eggs in the basket of the hand of God. You can put all of your life in the hand of God, every aspect of it in the hand of God, and he will come through for you. That's the only time it's okay to put all your eggs in one basket, because I dropped everything else. I submitted to my prayer life, and I submitted to completing that degree. And then when it came back around, God said, now those other doors, I'll slowly open them up for you. Guess what? I haven't jumped back on board with any and everybody. I haven't, because those situations that you think you're missing, God will show you where you're supposed to be going and where you're not. Some things that you left behind, it's not to be returned to. And you better pray about having wisdom and discernment. I'll say it again. How we keep saying we want things to go back to normal. No, some things don't need to go back to the way they was. You need to move forward. Some things you need to let it go. And this situation may have been set up. If you see that you are a second thought for people, your friends, they only ask you when you're a second thought. You ain't the first thing on their mind. You're a second thought. Probably need to let those friendships go, do what they're going to do. If you see business alliances that you constantly sow into people's business and they don't ever reach out to you and say, how can I help you? Not without it benefiting them somehow. Might be time to break those business alliances. If you're in a relationship with a man or a woman and you see that you are not a priority to them, because you can love somebody who don't really care about you. Somebody can love you and not care about you. So if you see you are in alliances that are not bringing value to you, you might be thinking about whether or not you want to carry that over to this new year. Don't cry over it. Sit in it. Deal with the pain. Face it. Respect it, and give it to God. And when I tell you he will show up and show out on your behalf, he will. He showed up and showed out for me. I don't want to come on and take any of the credit for the changes that I've endured. The one thing I can say, as I said when I started this video, is the biggest thing that I got through and got over in 2021 was me. Okay, you've been rejected. So what? So what? You lost some relationships, so what? If you went this far in your life and you didn't know those people all your life and you got more further to go, you don't think God going to bring other alliances? He ain't going to bring other people? Yes, he will, because he's God. And nothing's too hard for him. And he's got a plan for you that you can't see. You just have to trust in it. So when you experience that rejection, when you experience that discomfort, when you experience depression and anxiety over things you have no control over, just know when you're not in control, God is always in control. And he has your back. And he will make all things new. And he will give you exceedingly above and beyond all that you could ever ask or imagine. So I want to tell y'all to be blessed. I'll be back more to do more 15 minutes of faith. I'm in the process of moving, so I have to get that out of the way too. But I will be back for more. And I thank God for each and every one of you. And I pray for a blessed and prosperous year. Again, it's your girl, Dr. Joy Chestnut. Happy New Year again. Over and out.